Hey, my name's AJ Phillips. Today I'm sitting in Studio C at Box Hill Institute in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm going to be reviewing the Joey Sturgis bus glue drums. I'm really into this plugin. It's really different in comparison to the other kind of drum bus plugins that I've been using, and just the standard ones that everybody uses in the industry. What I found really different with this plugin was the settings that you could use really create a powerful representation of what the drum should sound like, especially with metal and rock and harder hitting style drum sounds. I'm going to be using a song by a band that I've been working on called Seddon. They're also a Melbourne-based metal band. We're going to be listening to the drum parts, and I'm going to be able to show you how this plugin reacts to the drums that I've mixed. So let's just jump in and have a quick look. What's really funny is that I was so happy with this drum sound when I got it, and I was like, there's no way I can make this sound better. And then I actually applied the plugin to my drum bus and everything absolutely changed. So I'm going to show you how quickly you can transform a drum sound like this into something that is absolutely incredible. So let's quickly have a look. Here it is bypassed, and now we're going to go into the plugin and unbypass. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of compression, and you'll be able to hear the transients change, especially with the kick and snare and a little bit of the cymbals as well. All right, so on first impressions, it's got super quick release setting and a super quick attack setting as well. So it's really just grabbing those transients in the kick and the snare and controlling them. You definitely need something like that with heavy music as well, but it's giving it a little bit of sparkle too. So it's gonna really help make those kick and snare hits punch through the wall of guitars that will usually happen in a mix like this. All right, so let's just continue adding a little bit more compression to this, and we'll be able to see the difference between the original and what's getting processed. All right, cool. So I've added about 70% of compression for this setting. Now let's just bring it back down to the original. Immediately you can hear a massive difference. Let's just bring it back. It's just given the drums life and sparkle. The cymbals sound like they're just a bit more aggressive. The kick and snare definitely sounds more aggressive, and it's brought up the room sounds too, which is really unexpected, especially with the drum bus setting that I was using beforehand. I've added a little bit of like 2 dB of makeup gain as well, just to kind of help with to keep it natural to the way where I had it before. But let's just have a look again. We'll just do a little bit A/Bs, and then I'm going to move on to the next feature, which is the open part, or the open punch setting of this plugin. Let's have a look. Here's the original again. Here's the plugin, 70%. I'm just going to bring it up to 100. Let's crush it. All right, I'm just going to bring up the volume a bit more. There we go. Okay, so with the fast release settings, it's really making the drums pump a little bit. You're not hearing a pumping sound, but it's really giving the drums a bit more breath, like bigger breaths coming out of the room. The tail of the room is definitely getting longer because of the settings that I've applied. Now this is at 100%. What I have noticed though with the tight setting is that it must be around 2:1 ratio, because it's really not punching super hard or crushing that a normal compressor would. So I'm going to move on to the open setting of this plugin now, and what I'm gathering is that the ratio is probably going to be a little bit higher, and the attack and release settings are going to change slightly as well. So let's just have a quick look at that too. All right, and let's bring in the compressor. Oh, as soon as you take off bypass, you can hear things already, which makes me think that the ratio is a lot higher than the original, than the tight setting. All right, I'm going to bring in the compression now. Incredible. It's just given way more life to these drums. And this is the open setting. We haven't even gone past the medium part of this either. So what I might do is let's crush it again with this setting and we'll just see what difference it makes from the original to the processed signal. Here we go with the original. All right, and processed. And let's crush it. It's pretty clear to me that the attack settings have been slowed down a little bit as well, because you're getting the sustain and from the kick and the snare as well. In comparison to the tight one, it was really grabbing the transients so super fast with the attack settings. It also seems like the release settings have been relaxed a little bit as well, which is great because it's just made the room bigger than what it actually is as well. And man, we love big drum rooms in metal now, don't we? So like, I think this is a really, really great plugin to be able to help your drums just speak and sparkle. Cool, let's just have a listen again. I'm gonna move it into the fat settings now, and let's have a listen and see what it's doing, especially in comparison. I'm really interested to hear what the attack and release settings are doing. And then as we apply compression, I would gather that the ratio is gonna be a lot higher as well. Let's have a listen. All right, plugging in. Let's just bring in some compression. Yeah, sounds incredible. Oof. Yeah. That's definitely my favorite setting on this plugin. It's brought out the low mids a lot more, and I think what it's doing also is that it's slowing down the attack again. So you're getting a lot more sustain out of the kick. I don't know if you could tell, but you could really hear the room mic of the kick drum becoming a bit more prominent in the mix as well. So, like I was saying before, I think even the release settings have slowed down too. So that really explains to me that that's what's making those room sounds a lot more prominent. And the ratio is a lot higher too. So the little amounts of compression you're getting, it's taking down a lot more gain reduction. I've kept the output at a makeup gain of 2 dB as well, just so it kind of sits in the same way it was in the original recording. Let's have a listen to that again. I've only gone to medium, so that's only halfway. I'm dying to hear what this sounds like when you crush it. Let's try it. That's at 70%, and that's just given the drums, it's just sounding incredible. The kick and snare are really working well with each other. The room is getting bigger and bigger as well because of the release settings. It sounds credible. All right, I'm gonna crush this and let's just see how it sounds. Hey, one great thing about the fat setting is that when you crush it, you could really use it as a parallel compressed bus as well. So I would definitely use both of these. I'd probably use it maybe with the open settings in my drum bus, and then in the fat settings, I would just crush it and bring it in. And it's just gonna give that attack to the kick and snare and really, really help it punch through those guitar and bass settings. Let's have a listen to the boom settings, and we'll just see. There's gonna be a massive difference. I would assume that the boom settings are gonna have a few different functions or settings in comparison to the other three that I've just played you back as well. Let's have a quick listen to the original, and then we'll listen to it processed as well. That's unprocessed, and this is processed. You can already hear something happening in the boom too. And let's just bring up the compression. Yeah, I was definitely right. It's definitely accentuating a bit more with the low end. So it's a bit more of a sub. It's compressing a little bit more of the subs. However, when it's doing that, it's making everything kind of bounce a little bit more as well. So you're kind of getting that kind of bouncy feeling when it's going through those little sections. Let's continue having a listen. I'll A/B that from the original back to the processed, and you'll be able to hear a massive difference in what this plugin is actually doing. So this is the processed one. So yeah, like you can see, it's about 5 dB of gain reduction as well, which is a fair amount, but it's still very colourful and not too crushed. And we'll just bring this up. Let's have a listen to it. Well, let's go to the original first. This is the original. You can barely hear the drums. The kick is a bit lifeless now, isn't it? And same with the snare. Now let's just bring it in. With a little bit of tasteful compression, it's just changed the way the drums sound. This is just at a medium setting as well. So once we go up to the full and to 100%, you're going to notice a massive difference. And again, it's probably going to be really good for parallel compression. I would 100% use the boom setting for my parallel compression. We're only at 75% here, and I can already hear how much attack is coming out of the kick and snare. If you had these two parallel with your drum bus, it would sound incredible. But let's just have a listen to this crushed, and we'll just see what it really is going to sound like crushed. All right, original. Lifeless, absolutely lifeless. All right, I'm going to bring it in now. I'm just going to bring down the makeup gain too. And let's just crush it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now that's taking off 10 dB of gain reduction, which is a hell of a lot when you think about it. Now, with this plugin, you've also got a mix setting as well. So now that we can hear the crushed version of this, let's have a listen to it when we just relax the mix setting a little bit. And it's going to be acting just like a parallel compressor, or parallel compression. Let's have a quick listen. Ooh, you don't want to go too down, but now I've gone to the extreme with this as well. Let's not forget that. Let's just bring it back down to the medium setting and you'll be able to hear a difference. Beautiful. It's really, really tasteful. It's still, you can definitely tell the ratio is super high, maybe 10:1. It's got a very fast release setting too because it's really picking up those transients, and it sounds like the attack settings are quite fast now as well. Now let's listen to the original, and then I'll bring in the boom slowly between sections and you'll be able to hear a difference. Now this is that 76% mix as well. I'm going to bring it back to 100%. There's a very, very, very small amount of difference when you change the mix from 75% to 100%. I do like that setting because it just relaxes the compression if you're not really happy with the way it is, or it's a bit too intense for you. I usually just relax it a little bit, probably nothing lower than 90%. Let's try that again. Well, there you have it. What an incredible plugin. It just does everything you want it to do for a drum bus plugin. Do yourself a favour, get this plugin. I think it's incredible, especially if you're really working with heavy music and hard rock stuff where you really need an incredibly powerful drum sound to go through the wall of guitars and bass and vocals that you would have. Okay, well, my name is AJ Phillips. Thank you so much for watching. Click the link below. Support Joey Sturgis and all the amazing things that he's doing. Follow me on Instagram if you can, AJ Phillips Productions, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.